Okay, we're going to continue on in our Father's Word. This is Leviticus 14, verse 32. This is the law of him in whom is the plague of leprosy, whose hand is not able to get that which pertaineth to his cleansing. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, When ye be come into the land of Canaan, which I give you for a possession, and I put the plague of leprosy in a house of the land of your possession. And he that owneth the house shall come and tell the priest, saying, It seemeth to me there is a plague in the house. Then the priest shall command that they empty the house before the priest go into to see if the plague, that all that is in the house be not made unclean. And afterward the priest shall go in to see the house, and he shall look on the plague, and behold, if the plague be in the walls of the house with hollow strakes, greenish or reddish, which inside are lower than the wall, then the priest shall go out of the house to the door of the house and shut up the house 7 days. And the priest shall come again the 7th day and shall look. And behold, if the plague he spread in the walls of the house, then the priest shall command that they take away the stones in which the plague is, and they shall cast them into an unclean place without the city. And he shall cause the house to be scalped within round about, and they shall pour out the dust that they scrape off without the city into an unclean place. And they shall take other stones and put them out in the place of those stones, and he shall take over other mortar and shall plaster the house. And if the plague come again and break out in the house, after that he had taken away the stones, and after he had scraped the house, and after it is plastered, then the priest shall come and look, and behold, if the plague be spread in the house, it is a fretting leprosy in the house. It is unclean. He shall break down the house, the stones of it, the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house, and he shall carry them forth out of the city into an unclean place. Moreover, he that goeth into the house all the while that it is shut up shall be unclean until the eve. And he that liveth in the house shall wash his clothes, and he that eateth in the house shall wash his clothes. And the priest shall come in and look upon it, and behold, the plague hath not spread in the house, after the house was plastered. Then the priest shall pronounce the house clean, because the plague is healed. And he shall take to cleanse the house 2 birds, and cedar wood, and scarlet, and hyssop. And he shall kill the one of the birds in the earthen vessel over running water. And he shall take the cedar wood, and the hyssop, and the scarlet, and the living bird, and dip them in the blood of the slain bird, and in the running water, and sprinkle the house 7 times. And he shall cleanse the house with the blood of the bird, and with the running water, and with the living bird, and with cedar wood, and with the hyssop, and with the scarlet. But he shall let go the living bird out of the city into the open fields, and make an atonement for the house, and it shall be clean. This is the law for all manner of plague of leprosy and scald, and for the leprosy of a garment and of a house, and for a rising or for a scab or for a bright spot, to teach when it is unclean and when it is clean. This is the law of leprosy. Now this is Leviticus 15. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When any man hath a running issue out of his flesh, because his issue he is unclean, and this shall be his uncleanness in his issue, whether his flesh run with his issue, or his flesh be stopped from his issue, it is his uncleanness. Every bed whereon he lieth that hath the issue is unclean, and everything whereupon he sitteth shall be unclean. And whoever touches his bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the eve. And he that sitteth on anything whereupon he sat hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the eve. And he that touches the flesh of him that hath the issue shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the eve. And if he hath the issue spit upon him that is clean, then he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. And what saddle soweth he rideth upon that hath the issue shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth anything that was under him shall be unclean until the evening. And he that beareth any of those things shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the eve. And whomsoever he toucheth that hath the issue, and hath not rinsed his hands in water, he shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the eve. And the vessel of the earth that he toucheth, which hath the issue, shall be broken, and every vessel of wood shall be rinsed in water. And when he hath an issue is cleansed of his issue, then he shall number to himself 7 days for his cleansing, and wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in running water, and shall be clean. And on the 8th day he shall take to him 2 turtle doves, or 2 young pigeons, and come before the Lord unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and give them unto the priest. And the priest shall offer them, the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for him before the Lord for his issue. And if any man's seed of copulation go out from him, then he shall wash all his flesh in water, and be unclean until the evening. And every garment and every skin whereupon is the seed of copulation shall be washed with water, and be unclean until the eve. The woman also with whom man shall lie with seed of copulation, they shall both bathe themselves in water, and be unclean until the eve. And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days, and whosoever touches her shall be unclean until the eve. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she shitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever touches her bed shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the eve. And whoever touches anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the eve. And if he be on her bed, or anything whereupon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean until the evening. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flower be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days, and all the bed whereupon he lieth shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of her blood many days out of the time of her separation, or if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation. She shall be unclean. Every bed whereupon she lieth all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation, and whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean, as the uncleanness of her separation. And whosoever touches those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and be unclean until the evening. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. And on the 8th day she shall take unto her 2 turtles, or 2 young pigeons, and bring them to the priest, to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the priest shall offer the one for a sin offering, and the other for a burnt offering. And the priest shall make an atonement for her before the Lord, for the issue of her uncleanness. Thus shall ye separate the children of Israel from their uncleanness, that they die not in their uncleanness, when they defile my tabernacle that is among them. This is the law of him that hath an issue, and of him whose seed goeth from him, and defileth therewith, and of her that is sick of her flowers, and of him that have an issue, of the man and of the woman, and of him that lieth with her that is unclean. Now, This is